Okay, Shadetreejetski. I'm working on the 2001 Kawasaki 900 STX that has a no spark condition. From the previous video, we determined that there's no spark. We double checked in the electrical box, found no problem with connections there. So my next step was to remove this stator cover, which you can see right there, center screen. It's metallic gray colored, and these are identical to the ones that are the seafoam blue color. The cover is exactly the same. They will interchange. They're just painted a different color. Okay. I believe, yeah, the flywheels are the same on the 900 and the 1100. And for the most part, I think the magneto assembly is the same. So there's 7 bolts. And since this one doesn't have the oil pump, it's not going to be as detailed in getting it off, but there's 7 bolts that hold that cover on. There's a rubber gasket, and of course, don't lose your spring and washer that go in front of your starter Bendix. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to attempt to, hopefully it's just rust on that flywheel that's causing the problem. I've had that be an issue before on an 1100 I'm worked on. If that's not the issue, then it is going to be the very expensive CDI module is going to have to be replaced. And then the customer will have to determine if he wants to pay for that cost of that part or not. Some people, they don't want to put that expensive a part in such an old jet ski, but this jet ski's really got great compression and is in good overall condition, so it's actually worth fixing. All right, let's tear into it. All right, a lot of times these things will not want to cooperate with you. So pull this plastic plug out. You'll see a little needle in there. That's to show you your timing mark. If you had a timing light, you're checking where the timing is on this thing. And then pick your socket or something down in there, and they'll give you a little leverage to plop that thing off. Well, that one doesn't want to, it's coming. See how it's cracking? That'll give you a little bit of leverage to start working it off. I am going to have to take off this hose right here, 1/4 inch nut driver for that socket. But now I've got me a little wedge. I can get me a flat blade in there and help pry that cover off. Okay, so here it is, up and out. It's beautifully clean. The only thing it looks like is there may be some oil in there that's leaked onto it. And here is your spring and washer. They go on the front of your Bendix. The spring goes in right there, and then the washer goes behind it. It's easy to put the washer on if you just stick it on the Bendix post that's sticking out there, center screen, next to the big round flywheel. You just push the washer on there when you put the cover back on. Sometimes with this rubber seal, you have to put grease or sealant to keep it in place while you're trying to do this job, to put it back together. That'll help you out. I'm gonna go ahead and spray some brake cleaner on this. It looks like it's kind of oil soaked. Which, if there is oil, then that means that the front seal could be leaking off of the engine. But you can see they did the oil mod, but they did not remove the secondary shaft when they removed the oil pump. You can see the bearings. This thing's focusing all right. The bearings there. Really, if you're going to eliminate the oil pump, you should take this on out. These bearings feel great on this one, though. I'm going to guess this is a very low hour ski. That's going to be my guess. But I'll get some brake cleaner. I'll clean all this up. I'll sandpaper. Everything looks clean, which leads me to believe that the CDI box itself is bad on this unit. That's usually what it is. As usual, the gasket wouldn't behave, so I've got a little Yama Bond on it. Shot me a piece of grease into the hole that the spring goes in. I'm going to stick the spring in there. That grease will keep that spring from falling out. And it'll also keep that thing lubed up for the end of the Bendix. And I'll go ahead and get my washer staged down here. The whole thing's falling. Down here. Let's see. I'm getting it on right there. So the washer is on the end of the Bendix now. The cover is ready to go back on. I sanded the contacts off of the end of the stator assembly, which, like I said, it tested good. I think we need a CDI unit, engine control module, whatever you want to call it. That's what it's going to take to fix this. So $500 or $600 part, and this jet ski will be running as long as the carburetor's good. It may need a carb build, but this ski is worth putting the money into. Okay, Shadetreejetski, finishing up this video on the 900 STX 2001 model. Just like a previous 1100 that I owned with a no spark condition, pulling the stator cover. I cleaned it with brake cleaner. I use brake cleaner because it doesn't leave a residue. And sanding the stator, the pieces that where the magnet rotates around, and the pickup where it hits the pulse. This thing works now. Well, I gotta get some gas, I guess. It's cold. It doesn't have a choke on it still. All that's left to do is to take it on a test run. Running premix. I didn't put the new velocity stacks on it. This guy wanted to go cheap as possible because he just wants to sell it. So it'll crank. You've got to use the primer to start it because there's no choke plates. But this one's ready to go. So what that, let me turn this off. What that means is, and you can see I couldn't finish yesterday. Look at the amount of rainwater this thing filled up with. You always want to try, number one, going through, check your battery. Is it good? Number two, look for compression. If you got good compression, the engine should fire. Number three, does it have spark? It didn't have spark, as you saw from the video. So I went through the procedures, cleaning all the parts in the electrical box first, because that's easier to do than pulling the front cover. That didn't work. I pulled the front cover, cleaned off the stator, cleaned it up, brake fluid, sanding all the points where it spins. The magnet spins around the magnet, and or the flywheel spins around it. So, you know, you think, well, it's a CDI box. You don't want to jump right out and spend that kind of money until you go through all these other things that don't cost as much. And she's running, and he'll be able to clean this thing up, and he'll get at least $3,000 for this jet ski. It's in really good shape. So there you go. I hope that helps you with your Kawasaki issues. This can be with any of the carbureted Kawasaki's, even the old 750s, stuff like that. May not necessarily be your CDI box that is bad. Could just be time to clean a few things, which is the case with this one. I've had this happen twice now. That particular one right there did need a module. It was bad. They're very expensive. So thanks for watching Shadetreejetski. We will see you in the next video.